Why are you coming down here? I swear. Immediately as soon as I started recording, I had cats everywhere. I've got a cat here. I had another cat just leave. And now I've got a cat in my lap. Anyways, how's it going, everybody? It is turn 51 in the Slowest Blitz, where we're playing Asphodel. Let's see what we've got going on. We have a message from Bandar log. It's... Aww. How sweet. This is a going away message, as Bandar log has been permanently vanquished. So let's run through the turn, see what is in store for us, and we will go from there, shall we? Thaumaturgy 5 completed, running up Conjuration 6 real quick. We are 1 point away from Con 6 being completed. Makes me sad. Emerald Count has claimed the Throne of Earth. Interesting. We have a Dire Portent going up from Pyrene, and another Dire Portent going up from Agartha. We did a Haruspex, found nothing. We did an At the End of the Rainbow and found a Shimmering Waterfall and a Singing Tree in Namor. +1 and +2. That's really good. We're basically just site searching for Kidzen at this point. Like, we're being a good neighbor, I suppose. I don't really have any intention of not doing that. I realize, obviously, that is not competitive or wise. We could have hit Conjuration 6 if we were not doing that. But, I don't know, I just kind of, at this point in the game, it's like, look, small little things like that are not going to get me back in or make me win. So I'm kind of just having fun with it. And playing with kitty cats. This guy does not want to get off my lap. Oh, come here, camera. He just doesn't want to go away. He just doesn't want to go. Alright, so. Situated. Why is my other camera borked? Fucking cats keep messing with my shit. Okay. We got some battles. We did some summon manticores. We got some battles. We'll check globals here in a second and see what's going on with the world. We are attacked all over the place. Man is coming at us hard, which is to be expected. We've got pretty much no PD anywhere, so these probably are all... Oh, hey, they lost a longbow. To themselves? How did a longbow shoot themselves? What? What? Wild. Absolutely wild. We have been attacked in Namor by a Call of the Wild. Not really anything here. So that is that. We've been attacked in Bycliff by another Call of the Wild. Again, not really much here, so that is that. We did kill some wolves. We've been attacked by Agartha in Straw Point. The army moves, and it did move kind of where we thought, right? It moved in to confirm its occupation of certain territories, rather than come straight for us. So that is interesting. We got attacked in Sitha. More Call of the Wild. There are some forces here. That's a Carrion behemoth, unfortunately, that we're probably going to lose. Yeah. Too many bites. Too many bitey bites. Oh! Did we actually win? Is it our force has been beaten by a stronger force. So, replay bug there. We did not win, but we could have won. So, pretty interesting. We are attacked in Lovendalen. It's got kitty patrol. You can see my arm. Hit the kitty. Hit the kitty. Alright. Oh, he's got some of the Kushis, I think are what they're called. Doing some work. Fair number of these guys. I don't actually like these very much. They've got a lot of HP, but they don't really do anything especially well. I think I think the most interesting thing that I've seen out of them is you can give them a lot of strength, like strength 8 or 9, and they actually start to hit fairly hard. And you can get a lot of them, and they're very fast and stealthy, with enough HP that they can become an issue. But aside from that, they don't really do much, and you can't really, I don't know. That bless doesn't really work very well for the other things that man has going on. So they're kind of a weird thing. But, you know, they have their uses. Dallin, we lose Frosted Peaks. More of them. Cool. We're going to lose that as well. Ow, ow. And we didn't really talk about this previously. Sorry, I've been kind of, you know, just blitzing through the episodes because we're kind of winding down and just... Ow! 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 Those are claws! My flesh! My flesh is rended. Kind of just flipping through things because we're looking for like some big battles to kind of like end the game on. But we are doing other things like patrolling particular areas, trying to catch man. Obviously, Shade Forest is where the vast majority of our forces are, but we are trying to protect it without losing anything too much. Oh, no, sorry, not Shade Forest. Shadowglade. So we do actually have some stuff going on there. We popped into Shade Forest this turn. Shadowglade will be a different thing. A different turn. We popped into Shade Forest this turn, and we did run into some Knights of Avalon. So let's see how a sizable host of mannequins mixed with a few Black Centaurs actually does against some Knights of Avalon. We've talked about this in the past, how if I knew what I know now, I would have played differently against man to deal with his raiding tactics. And that is, one, we would have a lot more mannequins because we would have focused more on... Oh, that's not good. We would have focused more on... At least the Black Centaurs can do their high defense, kind of like hold out against the Knights of Avalon for a little while. And now the mannequins are coming in, so maybe we won't lose a whole bunch of them. Yay, exhaustion. Anyways, we would have way more mannequins if we had focused more on Carrion Centaurs earlier on, and really tried to make sure that we got like Mother Oak up so that we could blast through those, producing way more mannequins and using those mannequins in stacks of like 100 to 200 to actually patrol out locations, especially when mixed with like a few Minotaurs or a few Centaurs to actually deal some damage along the way. Anyways. Get that monk. Get him. Yeah. So we do catch a small stack of Knights of Avalon here in Shade Forest. We lose 2 Black Centaurs and 34... Sorry. 2 Black Centaurs, a Centaur Warrior, and 33 mannequins over the course of that exchange. They trade up really, really well. So this is a stack of 200 with Black Centaurs supporting. The Black Centaurs did do a lot of the killing. If we had 100 here and no Black Centaurs, it's a much closer situation, right? So it really turns into a situation where it's like very, very like I said minuscule. That's 100's not minuscule. Deviations in the numbers can make a lot of difference when these units are so elite versus what we're fielding, right? Yay, kitty's off my lap and I got holes in my hand. Ooh, words. So, you know, like if this is 100 versus 6, probably still a win, though we're probably going to lose like 70 or 80, maybe not even a win. 100 versus 10, definitely not a win. 150 versus 6, definitely a win. 200, you know, it's a little variable, like just a few more knights or a few less knights is 50 to 100 mannequins required to seal the deal, because they just kill things so fucking well. It's amazing. Anyways, nice to pop some of those. We don't really care about losing. I mean, obviously we don't want to lose Black Centaurs at this point, but we're going to. We're gonna lose everything. So now it's just fun to take out a few Knights of Avalon along the way whenever we can. Other things we get to watch. We get to watch a battle in Phaeacia between Vanarus. My God. Van and Man have been horrendous for me to flip back and forth between. And I gotta... Oh, God. It's gonna happen again, too. We get to watch a battle between Vanarus and Man in Phaeacia, and Nabah and Bandar Log in Bandar Log. So let's watch the Phaeacian one first. See what some of our friends and foes are up to. So we've seen this army before. This is the Draconian-based army. A bunch of Chewed Herdmen, some Oathbound, fair number of archers, a bunch of mages in all of this, and Man has a few Knights of Avalon, a fair amount of Jade Maidens, a bunch of Wolves, and actually a bunch of these Jade Sorceresses here, which is kind of cool. So we can see we're getting some Moss Bodies, we're getting some Blessings, we're getting some, we're getting a Howl up, a lot of stuff going on here. So looks like Man is going to try a little bit of a defense. Draconians do go up immediately this time. Going to get into the mix of things. Bunch of lightning bolts out. We get a Howl up. Got some Frozen Hearts going. So the Howl is going to distract the archers. It probably won't do much damage. We've got some Swarm Casting or some upgraded Swarm Casting. Still a bunch of lightning bolts, some Frozen Hearts coming out on this side. Bark Skin, Mass Regeneration, interesting. A lot of fatigue happening on the mages over here already, which is kind of to be expected. They're not like communioned or anything like that. But most of this group is moss-bodied, which is going to be a little bit annoying to deal with. Now let's speed this up a little bit. It's basically this kind of semi-elite squad just holding here and trying to defend. Oof. That hurts. Knights of Avalon. Look at these fuckers. They're just doing so well. Oh, I thought the Jade Maidens had routed, but they were actually fighting stuff in the back. Interesting. Hold up, we might have to... Oh, no, I think they're routing now. Nope. They're too good. They just refuse to leave. Look at this shit. Fuckers just... They won't die. They're just like, nah, brah. Nah, we Gucci, man. We're here to stay. Fucking Knights of Avalon, I swear to God. Okay, well then. Vanarus, so replay bugs aside, Vanarus did attack Man, and they were defeated. Man did lose most of what they had here, right? But most of what they had here were wolves. It was just a shit ton of chaff. They lost 5 out of 13 Knights of Avalon, and they did lose the majority of their Jade Maidens. But, I mean, they did in damage with 13 Knights and 23 Jade Maidens. Like, they did a shit ton of work. They did lose a bunch of monks and some Jade Sorceresses. Probably lost more than that because most of this probably routed, so these two are probably dead as well. But they did kill 204 units. Most of this is fine. It's not the end of the world for Vanarus, right? They did lose a fair amount of Chewed Herdmen, a fair amount of Draconians. I don't know how many Draconian chieftains Vanarus has, so I think what you get 30 or is it 20 per cast. So there were 100 here. This would be several casts regardless, right? Between like 4 and 5 casts. But he might have more. He might have been putting even more air gems into Draconians. And if he's got 5 plus, that means he's getting 5 plus every turn. So Draconians are just really good for being able to free spawn those units. It's pretty fucking amazing. He did lose some mages, not a crazy amount of mages, but 2 Vanabogs hurts, right? These are slow to recruit, cap only, high priced mages, and not taking Phaeacia is kind of like a bloody nose type situation. So that's pretty interesting. I don't think it's going to matter too terribly much in the long run, because, I mean, Vanarus has a lot more forces than this, but very nice defense, right? Like, just, dear lord, these Knights of Avalon are so freaking good. I kind of want to watch again and see what Van was actually doing. So, see Frostflesh goes up. We can see Arrowfend. We have Strength of Gaia up. Oaken Army. Creeping Doom did come out. But one of the things I'm kind of interested in is what is going on with these Herdmen and whether or not they got hit with any strength buff. Because really, I think that's like the key to being able to chop up the Knights of Avalon is out of the gate, they hit pretty hard, right? They also have Berserking, so that helps them in that regard. But out of the gate, they hit 19 and 21, right? The issue is Knights of Avalon are sitting at 18 protection, right? 21 protection on the Unicorn. So that's not a guaranteed, like, lot of damage, and especially when you mix something in, like, Moss Body, or you start putting in, like, they've got some bark skins going out and things like that as well, right? So that matters in increasing their protection to the point to where the Herdmen can't chop through them easily. So, yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of little, like, it's Dominions. Of course, there's a lot of little, like, intricate things you can do, but the fucking Knights of Avalon are just so hard to deal with. They are not bad. They're not bad. So let's watch Nabah versus Bandar log. We've seen this army. This is we've seen this army several turns ago. It's changed a little bit, but it's mostly a big old wave of Janguard, a bunch of Nebian camel riders, and then a little bit of chaff here or there. We got a bunch of body ethereal casters, group luck casting. We've got a bunch of other various buffs, air shields, personal misform, those types of things. More body ethereal. Kind of just, I'm assuming, trying to make these individuals be able to just go through the wall right there, which is pretty cool. And there's not a lot here left from Bandar log. Unfortunately, they did a great job fighting against Abysia, but it cost them. And they've had a couple of, like, little losses here or there against Nabah as well, and they just don't have much left to resist with. So, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be too big of a deal. They do have some Tiger Riders back here, trying to do what they can. There's so many birds and Draconians, though, that... No, they should make it to the gates. Okay. I was concerned that they might not actually make it to hold the gates, but they should. Nope, not quite. And we have Janguard on the south side and the north side just going over and through the wall, and now they're wrapped around. They're giving as good as they can get, though. Those Tiger Riders are pretty scary, too. The fucking elephant's like, should I go? Should I go? No, I'm gonna stay back here. Should I go? No, I don't think it's... Fucking elephants. March past and go squish something, please. So the camel riders were the ones who were like, let's go? Okay. Alright. That do be it. Let's see what the butcher's toll was. 97 units on the Naba side completed. Lost a Sahara. That's not really a big deal. Lost an Inquisitor. Also not a super big deal. Lost some Lion Tribe Witch Doctors. Not a big deal. Lost some Mukaribs. Not a huge deal. Overall, very acceptable losses for Naba, I would say, in this particular situation. 12 Jangard. Really pretty good. Bandar Log, of course, lost everything. But all things considered with what they had here, they did a pretty good job, right? You know, there's not much else that they could have done at this point. You see they only had 2 mages at all, one of them being their god. But they held out for a very long time. They've been at war since almost as long as we've been at war, if not as long. Maybe a little earlier too. I don't know exactly when the war between Abysia, Naba, or Bandar Log, Agartha, Abysia, Naba began, but it was pretty damn early on. So, you know, they did a really good job holding out for as long as they did. They did a really good job hitting back against Abysia and punishing Agartha. So, good on them. Just, eventually you get ground down. So, upkeep cost, we can't pay for. Unexpected event in Shade Forest, we gain some population. Yay! And Bandar Log is now vanquished. Let's take a look at global enchantments. Wow, this has already been 22 minutes. I've been talking way longer than I thought. Blood Vortex is up from Pyrene. And Earthblood Deepwell is up from Agartha. It's kind of funny. It's turn 51. In the 40s, we were talking about how it was wild that there weren't any enchantments up, and then, or aside from like Mother Oak, we're kind of getting to that point finally. But still, it feels a little strange that we're so. It feels really late, turn 51, to not have all these slots filled. I will say there are more slots than are typical in a normal game, right? I think normally you only have 5 slots. I think we bumped that up to 7. But it's kind of surprising to me that these aren't all filled up yet. What are we doing this turn? Honestly, not a whole lot, right? We've talked about this previously. We're basically waiting to die and hoping that we get to do some good damage on the way. I know that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear. A lot of people are extremely competitive, and I'm more than happy for those people to talk about what I should be doing. By all means, tell me what I should be doing. But it's at the point in the game where I know I'm going to lose, so my only concern now is to kind of be like, okay, what can we do to hurt somebody? And go from there and not stress about it too much. So we do have a couple little plans that we've talked about previously with some of our gems. We are 1 point off of Conjuration 6, which gives us access to some of those opportunities. In the unlikely event that we are alive in the next 5 to 10 turns, we are heading up Enchantment 8, and then we're potentially going to snag Army of Rats. Enchantment 8 is going to give us access to many different things. Primarily, it gives us access to army generation, but we do get the Fens, we do get Soaring Army, which could be a fun little trick to utilize. Getting some Black Centaurs in the backline could be a lot of fun, that type of situation. And that's mostly it. So, primarily army regeneration with resistances and maybe a combat trick in Soaring Army. Aside from that, we'll get Army of Rats if we make it that long, right? We'll get Army of Rats just because it's a fun thing to do. And it could, probably won't matter if we're fighting man. But it could, you know, clip a couple people and make us kill 10%, 20% more Knights of Avalon. Maybe we kill some more mages, something like that. You know, it's just something potentially fun to try to do. Other than that, we're raiding back with enough forces to try to actually succeed against some of the things that we could come up against, but not enough to where it will hurt us drastically if we lose all of them. If we lose one of them, won't hurt us really at all. But if we lose all of them, right, the intent here is to make sure that we're not like, oh, well, we just lost 600 units, right? Because I could march out with a stack of 200, a stack of 200. Can't do a stack of 200 over here because it's out of range. But we could try to do those things. If we do that, though, we're drastically reducing our capabilities of performing well in a really big fight against Agartha and man, which is kind of the whole goal at the moment. Other things we've got going on, we should take a look around. Man has defended Phaeacia. I don't think they will keep Phaeacia. I think Vanarus has enough in the tank. They've had 2 territories for a long time. They've been able to tech up. We can see they've got a lot of shit going on right now. I think this force that they lost, while painful, is, at the end of the day, not a big deal for them. So I would not be surprised to see a very similar force in the Phaeacian territory very quickly. Speaking of which, there's this force over here, though it's of slightly different composition. It's got a bunch of Zamays, which are fun. And knowing that Vanarus is producing a shit ton of Zamays is terrifying. So yeah, anyways, I don't think this was a fun victory on Man's part. Good job blooding Vanarus's nose, but I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. I think Van's going to take this territory, and there's not going to be a lot that Man can do about it. I expected Man to come at us pretty hard. I was relatively sure that Agartha would try to take this stuff back, try to like solidify borders against Nabab. I'm sure they will jump into our territory as well. I don't know what Agartha's doing. I don't know what Agartha's doing, because the only times they've ever attacked me have just been these big unsupported stacks marching around. They're not doing any like raiding. They could have, you know, most of the places that I have, if there's anything there, it's just a few mannequins, right? They could bring in some blind fighters or just basic infantry, 20 of those, and kill a lot of mannequins without much issue. So I don't really know why Agartha isn't just like marching tiny stacks around, as well as a big supported army, you know, that type of thing. So I'm very curious as to what that situation is. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're continuing to do the site searching that we shouldn't be doing, because why not? Reanimating, and that's really about it. We're waiting for the axe to fall and hope we get blood all over Man's shoes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.